Girl, you got me shook from the way your body looks. Got me riding hooks, got me feeling like a rook.
So, now that I've got your attention, so do you remember the game Fruit Ninja? Today I want to bring Fruit Ninja to virtual reality. Spoilers ahead, it's going to be bad. Let's get started. So the first thing I realized when opening a new Unity project is that you cannot just start programming like you usually would. That's because you need something that translates your input on your VR controllers and the head movement to the game. For this to work, you need some kind of asset or framework that does exactly that. Luckily, you're watching a professional here, so that should be really easy. Wait, Brekkies doesn't have a tutorial for that? Oh, Anyway, so I've watched some videos and found out that there are many different options available, but they all seem to be and work a little bit different. For example, there's Steam VR, VRTK, Oculus integration, Unity's XR toolkit, and since the input on your VR controllers is so fundamental for your game, I think you should really carefully consider which one you want to choose. So whatever, I just decided to write a little script that randomly decides which framework I should choose. And my magic cunt shell decided that I should go for Unity's XR toolkit.
The shell knows all!
Oh, magic conch shell, what
SDK.
do we need to
Use. Make a Fruit Ninja VR game. Unity's XR toolkit.
The shell has spoken!
So I opened up the package manager and installed the XR toolkit, and just a few videos later I already had a basic scene set up where I could basically look around and use my hands that were visible by these red lines. That was surprisingly easy. But then it was time to face my rival, my final boss, my nemesis, 3D modeling platform, Blender. Because I obviously needed some fruits to cut, but I'm really the biggest idiot when it comes to Blender. I recently wanted to make a 3D stickman, nothing too difficult, and you want to know how it turned out? Really? Okay, cover your eyes, here it comes. It looks so bad, I'm so embarrassed that my hands created this monster. It's so shitty, it doesn't even have legs. So I really wasn't that confident going into Blender. But fortunately there's that small platform called YouTube where you can basically learn everything about Blender. And after watching a few videos, I managed to get a 3D model of an apple done that looked kind of decent. But what would be Fruit Ninja without bombs, right? And to my own astonishment, it was also relatively easy and I ended up with a bomb that looked okay. But after that my confidence level was over 9,000 and I thought, wow, I'm so good at Blender, let's make a banana. But unfortunately, bananas suck. Because a banana is not just a sphere with some vertices to move around. No, a banana is a little more complicated. And since I already failed on a banana, you can see how bad I am at Blender. So having two models done, I headed back into Unity and started working on the slicing mechanic. The thing is that slicing a game object exactly where you hit it and in the rotation that you hit it can be really difficult. Thankfully there is an open source framework called Easy Slice that does exactly that. So I downloaded it and played around with the code. I've had some problems figuring out how it works, but after some time I made it work. So this is how it works. The slicing script lays on the blade itself, and it has a collider set to trigger. And as soon as an object triggers the collider and the object is on the cuttable layer, the onTriggerEnter function gets called and the object gets sliced. So the fruit or bomb gets destroyed and two new game objects get instantiated, which will be set to the cuttable layer as well. So you can cut fruits multiple times if you want and if you're fast enough. There was only one more problem to fix. You can basically just reach out with your hands and wait for the fruits to fly through the collider and cut themselves. So I had to dive a little bit deeper in the XR toolkit so I could track the velocity of the hands so the fruit only gets cutted when a certain value is surpassed. So that being fixed, I wanted to make some cool weapons way effect just for the flex. It ended up being okay, but I think I can make this much better in the future. But it's fine for now. Since I was already in the process of creating particle systems, I created the sparks for the fuse and an explosion for the bomb, and I think this cartoony style looks pretty sweet. So next up, I finally started to write the spawning script for the fruits and the bombs. So I created a few empty game objects that act as spawn points, and every few seconds they generate a random number that decides if and what should be spawned. And as soon as the fruits are instantiated, I just add a random force and rotation, so the fruits are flying in front of the player. Oh, and by the way, I found this nice asset on the asset store that contains some fruits like the banana, and it doesn't look like shit, hooray! And an orange and a lemon, so we kind of have some variety of fruits now. I also added a texture to the bomb and to the apple, so they look much better now. I also changed up the scene quite a lot, and I have no idea what this is. Some fence and some stairs, completely random, completely stupid. Looks like shit, but I want to change it up in the future as well. Last but not least, I finally made a script that manages the lives of the player, and as soon as a fruit reaches the ground, it subtracts 1 life. And obviously, if the player cuts a bomb, that also is a game over. Last but not least, I wanted to add some visual feedback to the player when it's game over time. So I wanted to do that with the post-processing. I have no idea if that was a smart idea or not. But anyways, I had to figure out how to change post-processing and runtime, which was not that easy actually, because I had no idea how the syntax works, but eventually I figured it out. So if it's game over, the screen gets slightly darker now, and if the player then presses a button on the controller, the scene gets restarted. So I think that wraps it up for today's episode. There is still a lot to do in this game, for example, making a main menu, fixing some stuff, and enhancing the gameplay. I'm thinking about adding some items, and obviously I need to make some sort of a scoring system. I completely forgot that. But since this is the first video on this channel, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to subscribe the like button and leave a comment down below, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.